words he speaks are true. We're our humanary stew. We don't pledge allegiance to the Black Widow. The horror that he'll bring, the horror of his sting, the unholiest of kings, the Black Widow.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Spider's Parlor. I am the Spider, and let us continue our deviant discography of Alice Cooper. Last time we covered School's Out and $1 Billion Babies. Tonight we will conclude the original Alice Cooper group's career with Muscle Love and briefly touch on the greatest hits album that followed. After the number one success of $1 Billion Babies, the band has pretty much been constantly on the go. They haven't really had a chance to, take time to do much of anything else other than record, go on tour, record, go on tour. And you've had 4 very huge successful albums with Love It to Death, Killer, School's Out, and $1 Billion Babies. And when it came time to do Muscle Love, they really didn't have a concept. And they recorded 10 songs, and it was a hit, but it wasn't number one. It wasn't the top 10 though. Muscle Love, the album, was very unique. Was in a cardboard, carton. Says, attention, this carton contains one Alice Cooper Muscle Love. Now at the bottom here, you see this stain, and it says fragile. The stain was not something created by me or something spilled on there when I bought it. That was made into the album. I can let your imagination run wild as to what exactly it's supposed to be. But if you open it up, the band is dressed up as sailors at a nude wrestling place of business. Muscle Love and all the songs with it all had to do with sex or things close to sex. You've got Muscle Love, Woman Machine, Hard-Hearted Alice, and then you've got things like Working Up a Sweat. And now there's a couple of really good songs on here that are sometimes staples in the Alice show. Muscle Love was one. Teenage Lament 74 was one. Muscle Love has still one of the best lines towards the end of the song. Read Dad's books like I did before, now things are crystal clear. I locked the door in the bathroom now, I just can't get caught in here. Gee, I wonder what he's talking about. I always smile when I hear that. He has a way with definitely making you laugh. Working Up a Sweat, well, you can guess what that's about too. But probably one of my favorites on here, sadly, is a song that should have been the actual theme song for the James Bond movie Man with the Golden Gun. And we did not get Alice's version. In fact, Alice knew that the next in the sequence of novels that they were going to do is into a movie was Man with the Golden Gun. So he prepared and he wrote a song for it. What ends up happening though is they don't use his. It's 10 times more brilliant, and I believe, if memory serves me, they end up using a song by a person named Lulu. What? Anyway, and then there's another great one on here called Big Apple Dreamin', and it's another just. This album really didn't have a concept per se, but it's a series of 10 great rock and roll songs. They're not used as often in the shows. There was a time when they were used more frequently, but Muscle Love is a good album to have ended the career on. It's a shame that they did have to break up. You know, a lot of stories came out over the years as to why they broke up or whatever. You know, the one that you hear the most about is, you know, the band wanted to reinvent Alice Cooper that could do a show without the theatrics, but Alice himself wanted to do more theatrics, and he didn't understand. You know, that was what set them apart. Great songs plus an insanely detailed stage show. I, for one, am glad that Alice continued the theatrics and, you know, continued to produce insanely good music. It is a shame that the original band had to, you know, separate, but they did. You know, they didn't have any real bad blood. We lost Glenn Buxton in 1997, but the band has reunited from time to time at Cooperstown, doing, you know, some songs and stuff. Alice's Restaurant in Phoenix. But when Muscle Love came out, and that was the end of the band's original lineup, Warner Brothers quickly put out a greatest hits album. This is a great little thing here with the 5 of them dressed up in gangster clothing, and it pretty much just gives us what we've already, you know, most of these are used in the Alice show. It's got I'm 18, Is It My Body, Desperado, Under My Wheels, Be My Lover, School's Out, Hello Hooray, Elected, $1 Billion Babies, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Teenage Lament, and Muscle Love. The original Alice Cooper band is definitely an underrated force in music. And I, for one, will always remember what they contributed, and you know, it was a supreme honor for me to meet all of them, sans Glenn Buxton, earlier this year in March in New Jersey. That's what I showed you all in a previous episode with the Killer album signed by all of them. It was a big deal to talk to them about the stories from back then and everything else. They will. Maybe the general public may not necessarily remember names, but their sound, what they had to contribute, will not be forgotten. As for Alice himself, well, Alice goes from here on into his, you know, solo career without his bandmates, and pretty much now with total creative control, he can now put together, at least at the time, the biggest production he has ever done. And the question is, coin toss. Was he a success? As he said, they put all their money into the next tour and album. If it did well, it would be huge. If they failed, that's it. Well, he's still around, so obviously it was a success. We will discuss that next episode. But until then, Alice will welcome you to his nightmare.
Skyscrapers